Welcome to Create Art with Jazz. Today we'll be drawing a rose. Let's go. First we'll start by drawing a rough outline of the center of the rose. It doesn't have to be perfect because the rose is organic, so if you make a mistake, it's okay. If you notice, the bottom part of the rose looks sort of like a U shape. I'm just going to go around the top part of the rose and continue to make my lines. I'm actually looking at a photo reference and just using the outer parts of the rose's petals to make this design. And you can do the same thing, or you can even use a real rose. I'm filling in the center so that I know exactly where I'm at. And now I'm going to make squiggly lines around the outside of the center of the rose. Now we're going to add a little detail to the rose inside of the petals, and we're going to just continue going around and around the rose until we finish completing all of the petals. Now I'm drawing in the leaves of the rose. I'm just going to add two to make this rose sweet and simple. I'll draw the outside of the leaf and a line down the middle. Then I'll go back in, and if you're working in a digital program, you can add a separate layer. Like I did, I'm going in and adding fine details in a lighter shade of black. So I just lowered my opacity, and I'm going in and just adding some shading to the rose just to give it a little bit of depth and detail. When you're adding the details, keep in mind to follow the shape of the rose. You can add curvature to your lines, and that just helps to make it look a little more realistic than to just have straight up and down vertical lines. I'm zooming in so that I can get right down in there and get those small little details in. If you're using traditional pen and paper or pencil and paper, you can just go in close and do those fine details with a sharp pencil. And I would just go in lightly and don't press very hard. I'm coloring the rose in now with a beautiful shade of red, and I'm trying not to go outside of the lines. But this is digital paint, so if I do, I can always go back with the eraser. If you're using traditional crayon or paint, just try carefully to stay inside of the lines. You may want to even outline the outer edge of the rose first before you start to fill in the center. For this tutorial, I'm using Adobe's Illustrator Sketch App on my iPad, but you can use almost any digital paint app, it's fine. As long as it has layers, you can do the same thing that I'm doing. The Illustrator Sketch App puts everything in vector, so that's really cool. If you want to take this design to the next level, you can. You can make a billboard out of it, a sign, you can put it on a shirt, a coffee mug, or anything like that. So that's one of the benefits to using Adobe Illustrator. But once again, there are other apps out there that are available for use that may be a little cheaper or what have you. If this tutorial is moving too fast for you, remember you can always pause it or rewind. Just take your time and make sure you're having fun. That's the whole point of art, is to create, express yourself, and have fun. I'm zooming in and just taking my time, filling in the green. I'm trying my best not to go outside of the lines and not to paint on top of the red. And we just want to fill all the leaves in with the green color or whatever color you want. It's art, it's fun. Now we have our solid colors in there, and we have a little bit of shading with the lines. So next I'm going in with a slightly darker red, and I'm going to just go in and add in some more detail and just darken up those shadows just a little bit to give the rose a little bit of a more three-dimensional look. This just adds more depth and more realism to our cartoon rose. Next, I'm going in with an even darker shade, and I'm adding in more depth with shadowing. So I'm just going around and making some loose shadows and just following the line work. Don't go outside of the line work that we already put down. And I'm adding a little bit of a darker shade green just to make the leaves pop out a little bit. Now I'm cleaning up my edges with the eraser. I'm using a very small eraser to get in there really good. I don't want to cut back into my artwork, so I'm just trying to take my time and carefully do that. So our rose is just about complete. And here's the fun part. You can just add another layer to the background if you're using digital paint. If you're using traditional paint, just be careful not to paint over your rose. And I'm just gonna go in and start shading and just kind of freestyle a design. I just wanna have fun with it. So I'm adding in green at a low opacity because I want the background to have some of the atmosphere from the rose. And I decided to add in a nice little forestry type of background at the bottom. I'm going to add in some vines that kind of symbolize that there may be other roses around. And I'm just really having fun with it, not taking it too serious and not getting caught up in being so detailed and structured. So I'm just loosely going in and adding the layers. I'm going to add shadows under and around the rose and around the leaves just to give it a little more dimension. It's a cartoon, but I like for my cartoons to have a little bit of depth to them and not be totally flat. I decided to put in a blue background. I left a little bit of the green to show so that it could mix in with the environment. And I'm just adding a nice little blue and shading that in. I also decided to make sweeping motions as if a wind was coming through, just to give it a little bit of fun and a little bit of like spice to it so it won't be so static. I'm adding in some white dewdrops and I'm just placing them around the rose. You don't want to overdo it. And if you notice, the ones in the background are a little bit smaller than the ones in the foreground. I also added in some dripping water to make it seem like the rose has dew on it. So it's just something fun I thought of. I want the picture to stand out a little more, so I'm adding some white designs to the front of it. I decided that the white was a little too stark, so I did go back and lower the opacity on the white layer. And next I'll just add my signature, and this was so much fun. If you would like to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. Also hit the notification button so you can be alerted when I have new videos. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching.